I was 5 weeks pregnant when I found out my cousin sold my uterus to a rival alpha. Not literally, obviously. Just the medical records, the scan, the blood work, the notes that said things like strong fetal heartbeat and first confirmed heir of Crescent City Pack. And the price tag someone put on that. If you believe family can smile in your face while pricing out your unborn child behind your back, hit subscribe to Rene's romance stories. Because this is how my quiet ends and how my fire starts. You'd think the night someone tried to kidnap a Luna would be storms and thunder and dramatic lightning over a haunted forest. Mine started with a fried chicken sandwich and a spreadsheet. It was 1:47 a.m. in Crescent Tower. The rest of the city pulsed outside my windows. Neon reflecting on glass, sirens in the distance, the constant hum you only stop hearing if you were born in it. I sat cross-legged in bed, hair in a messy bun, crumbs on my Luna off-duty t-shirt, balancing my tablet on my knees. I was rerouting clinic budgets for the 4th time because apparently you can't approve a prenatal wing and hire more night security without somebody on council crying. My name is Sarah Hale. I'm 24, and everyone says I have a soft voice. They say it like it's a compliment, like gentle means safe, like the way I tilt my head and listen, fold my hands during counsel, speak in measured tones, means I couldn't possibly be dangerous. They forget quiet things still burn. I'm the Luna of the Crescent City Pack, mated to Alpha Michael Hale, 6'4" of protective muscle, storm gray eyes, and the kind of jawline people write fanfic about. We don't live in some cabin in the woods. We live on the top floors of a 60-story glass high-rise in the middle of downtown, with humans and wolves stacked together like a very tense, very volatile cake. I was exactly 5 weeks and 3 days pregnant. We hadn't told the pack yet, not the elders, not the council, not Michael's terrifyingly composed mother. Just the doctor and my cousin Jade, because Jade worked admin at Midnight General and was with me at the appointment. I'd been sitting there, blinking at the tiny flicker on the ultrasound, when the world shifted under my feet. Good heartbeat, the doctor had said, like it was a normal thing to say. Like my whole life didn't just reroute around that sound. Back in my bed, the memory still made my wolf curl around my middle, protective and smug. The bond between me and Michael hummed softly in the background of my mind, like a bass line. He was away on a late patrol, checking rumors about a rival pack sniffing at our borders. I should have been asleep. Instead, I was color-coding risk reports and trying not to think about how I might one day be responsible for both a pack and a tiny person who might inherit Michael's reckless need to run towards danger. The lights flickered. I frowned at the ceiling. No, I told the universe. You don't get to be symbolic tonight. The lamp beside the bed dimmed, brightened, then dimmed again in a jerky stutter. The tablet in my hands glitched. Lines of text blurring, numbers distorting. My wolf lifted her head. Something's wrong, she whispered. Then the entire world went black. For a second, I thought, power outage, boring, annoying, call maintenance. Then the emergency thrumming cut through the floor under my feet. Every high-rise has a heartbeat, water in pipes, electricity in wires, the low thrum of backup generators. Crescent Tower's backup grid should have kicked in instantly. It didn't. No white humming. No emergency lights. Just a heavy, swallowing dark. My heart started hammering. I set the tablet on the nightstand and reached automatically for the drawer. My fingers closed around cool metal. The ugly iron candlestick my mother-in-law had given us as a traditional housewarming gift. I'd internally relabeled it traditionally good for bludgeoning. The bond with Michael flared, faint but there, far away, alert, focused. My phone buzzed once, then died. The charger light went out. I stood barefoot on the hardwood, the silence pressing in too thick. City sounds still leaked in, the distant honk of a horn, a motorcycle, somebody yelling on the street, but the tower itself felt muffled. Wrong. Okay, I whispered, more to my wolf than myself. We don't panic yet. We prepare, she answered, ears pinned, fur bristling just under my skin. I padded to the bedroom door, candlestick held low. Old training kicked in. Don't silhouette yourself in a doorway. Listen before you move. The hallway outside was a long, soft red tunnel. Emergency lights had finally come on, but dimmer than they should have been, flickering like they'd been magically throttled. I sniffed. Pack scent. Our scent. Michael's, faint but familiar. Luca, his beta, guards, and under that, something off, bitter, resinous. Smoke and steel and mountain pine. Blackridge pack. My phone buzzed again in my hand, screen briefly lighting up as the emergency text spells tried to squeeze one message through the dead grid. Luca, stay put. Grid hit whined something. Lock your door. Backup team en route. Alpha on his way back. Do not open for anyone. The message blinked. Then my phone went completely dark. Too late, I muttered. Because right then, the elevator at the end of the hall dinged. It was the most ordinary sound in the world. Too ordinary. Our elevators didn't run in an outage. Protocol froze them and redirected to stairwells only, while security did a physical sweep. I watched, throat tight, as the indicator above the doors glowed red, then green. Wrong, my wolf growled. Wrong, wrong, wrong. The doors slid open. 3 sets of footsteps walked down the hallway towards our door. Slow, heavy, absolutely not panicked. Predators, not victims. A scent pushed ahead of them. Blackridge wolves, cloaked in something slick and sour that made my nose itch. Magic, glamour spells bent around them like oil-slick second skin. I stepped back from the door, gripping the candlestick until my knuckles hurt. The doorknob turned. Our locks are biometric, keyed to scent and alpha bond. They shouldn't work in a blackout. They definitely shouldn't work for strangers. The knob clicked. The deadbolt slid back with a sound that physically hurt my brain. Something in the frame shimmered like heat waves over asphalt. Magic again, some kind of subtle override rune woven into the metal. The door opened. 3 wolves in tactical black stepped into my bedroom like they were following a floor plan. Not kids, not hired thugs, real fighters. Muscle under armor, eyes flat, movements loose in that way trained predators have. Their uniforms were unmarked except for the silver ridge etched over a black mountain on their chest. Blackridge. The front one had dark hair cut sharp, a scar running from his left brow to his jaw. The other 2 fanned out, one towards the window, one towards the hall, bracketing me without making it look like it. I forced my breathing to slow. My heart was another thing. The front man smiled, polite. Luna Sarah. He said it like we've met, like my name already tasted good in his mouth. Do not come closer, I said, and was vaguely pleased my voice didn't shake. He held up both hands in a mock placating gesture. We don't want to hurt you. That's exactly what people say, I replied. Right before they try to hurt you. His smile barely twitched. We're here under Alpha Blackridge's authority. We'd like you to come with us, quietly, for your safety and the safety of your heir. My fingers tightened around the candlestick. Funny, my husband already covers that department. He tilted his head. We appreciate Alpha Hale's efforts, but he's sentimental. He doesn't seem to understand what you're carrying. What it could mean. Ice pricked along my spine. Explain it to me then, since you're so helpful. We know you're pregnant, he said simply. We know how far along. We know your blood work, your genetics, your special potential. I swallowed bile. How? He shrugged. People sell things. Records, lists, futures. My stomach sank. How much did you pay her? I asked. He blinked just for a second. Who? My cousin. I kept my eyes on his. Jade Lawson. His smile sharpened. Enough. Blood roared in my ears. They hadn't just hacked a system. They'd bought the person who knew every file that crossed that system. They'd bought my family. My wolf lunged at my skin, snarling. Rage followed so fast it almost knocked me out. I didn't think. I didn't plan. I just broke. You know the feeling when you've been standing in freezing water too long and someone suddenly dumps boiling water on you? It was like that, but from the inside. Heat exploded in my chest. Not surface heat, not anger. Something deep in my bones, spiraling out from my heart, racing down my veins like my blood had been swapped for molten metal. It should have hurt. It didn't. It felt right. The air around the doorframe lit up in soft, white gold lines. Intricate sigils glowed where there had been plain wood and metal before. Runes hooked into the frame, dried blood smeared under the paint. Glamour work, cloaking spells, little magical blindfolds that had let them slip past our wards and cameras. The new heat inside me surged toward it like a magnet. White fire blossomed along the frame, not orange, not red. White, threaded through with gold and hints of sun-bright blue, eating the sigils like they were paper. The flames crawled painstakingly along every hidden rune, every smear of stolen magic, burning away only what didn't belong. They didn't touch the wood. They didn't touch me. My wolf howled, not in fear, in recognition. Scarjaw stumbled back, arm thrown over his face. What in the... The wolves beside him cursed, their glamours sputtering. The slick, unnatural shimmer around their bodies peeled away as the fire crawled across the ceiling and down the walls, seeking every trace of cloakwork. And with the magic gone, their real sense hit me full force. Unmasked. Strong, sharp, wolves from mountain territory, high iron in their blood, the tang of weapons oil and night drills. The one by the window flinched as the fire licked toward him. Alpha said she was a mental type. Alpha was misinformed, I said, my voice suddenly very, very calm. Because under the panic and the nausea and the sheer animal terror of 3 hostile wolves in my bedroom, something crystalline had dropped into place. The heat wasn't random. It was focused. It moved where my attention went. Wherever I thought that's a lie, that's wrong, the fire roared brighter. I asked my cousin why she betrayed me, I heard myself say, as the last of the glamour burned off and the room snapped into sharp, brutally honest focus. She said it was nothing personal. I took a step forward. The flames followed like a cloak, licking at my bare feet without burning. Girl, I said, smiling in a way that made Scarjaw's eyes widen, I'm personally about to ruin your life. And just like that, the Luna with the gentle voice stopped being safe. She became fire. Chapter 1. If you met me on the street, your first impression wouldn't be walking flamethrower. You'd probably think nice girl, quiet, probably says sorry too much. I'm average height with brown skin and dark curls that have declared war on every hair tie I own. I like oversized sweaters, annotated books, and cups of tea I forget to drink until they're lukewarm. When I laugh, it's soft. When I'm angry, I go quieter, not louder. People mistake that for weakness. They don't notice I'm also the one who remembers everything you ever said, filed by tone and context, cross-referenced with your tells. They don't notice that when I fall silent in a meeting, it's because I'm modeling 8 different outcomes in my head and picking the one that keeps the most people alive. Gentle voice, lethal mind. That's what Michael calls me when he thinks I'm asleep. Crescent City doesn't look like a place that belongs to wolves. From far enough away, it's just another coastal skyline. Glass teeth biting into the sky, highways glinting like metal snakes, neighborhoods braided with strings of yellow streetlights. Humans drive home from late shifts, stumble drunk out of clubs, fall in and out of love under flickering neon. But if you know what to look for, you see us. The patrols on the high rooftops, moving faster than humans think possible. The kids with eyes a little too bright and backs a little too straight, walking their human friends home from school. The symbol etched discreetly on certain doors and sidewalks, a crescent moon cradling a small ember. Our mark, our territory, our tower. Crescent Tower used to be a corporate headquarters. We bought it after the old Alpha died, and everything almost collapsed. Wolves live in the upper 30 floors, humans in the lower 20. The middle 10 are mixed. Offices, clinics, our training levels, and council halls, all careful lines between worlds. I live on floor 58. Top 3 floors are Alpha and Inner Circle. Lots of glass, lots of rules, lots of ghosts. Stop thinking, I told myself. staring at my reflection in the full-length mirror. The mirror did not obey. Rude. A young woman looked back at me in a tailored cream blazer over a black silk camisole, matching pants and bare feet. My hair was in a neat low bun instead of my usual half-feral puff, a few curls escaping on purpose to soften my face. I looked like a Luna. I did not feel like one. "You're doing that thing where you rehearse arguments in your head," a voice drawled behind me, "with people who don't even know they've already lost." I met Michael's eyes in the mirror. He was leaning in the bedroom doorway, forearm braced against the frame, watching me with that mix of affection and worry he thought he hid well. In daylight, my husband is ridiculous. He's tall in the way that makes ceilings look short, broad shoulders under a white dress shirt with rolled-up sleeves, black trousers, the faintest shadow of stubble along his jaw. Storm gray eyes framed by dark lashes, currently narrowed slightly as they trace from my hair to my bare toes. The alpha, my mate. He shifts off the doorframe and walks toward me, barefoot, tie undone around his neck. The bond between us hums stronger with every step, warmth curling under my ribs, my wolf lifting her head, tail wagging once in spite of herself. "You're staring," I said, because I panic flirt when I'm nervous. "Correct," he said, entirely unbothered. "My Luna is beautiful. It feels relevant." I rolled my eyes. "We're going to be late." "To a video call," he pointed out dryly. "They can wait the extra 30 seconds it takes me to worship you properly." "Michael!" He came up behind me, sliding his hands to my waist, chin resting on my shoulder. Our reflections overlapped in the glass, his height, my curve, his storm, my shadow. "You look like trouble," he murmured in my ear. "The efficient, agenda-wielding kind." "I'm about to negotiate with the Southside Coven about shared health access," I said. "Trouble is already happening." "You love it." He wasn't wrong. I did love it. For all my anxiety and imposter syndrome, I loved the work. The spreadsheets, the risk charts, the late-night calls with other supernatural factions where I smiled and nodded and quietly manipulated the agenda. Wolves pretend we only respect claws and fangs. That's a lie. We respect results. And my results were good. My gentle voice made people underestimate me. My brain made them regret it later. I swallowed, eyes dropping to my stomach. "I don't like that we have to ask witches for backup because our own elders won't sign off on a security upgrade." Michael followed my gaze. His hands tightened, thumbs instinctively brushing the still flat plane of my abdomen. Our bond pulsed, awareness sharpening between us. We'd found out about the baby 4 days ago. 4 days of soft, stunned smiles. Of him pressing his ear to my stomach like he could already hear something. Of me crying over dog food commercials. We had not told a soul. "Witches owe us," he said. "That coven's healer circle couldn't set up shop in our city without our permission. They get access, we get protection. It's fair." "Nothing about Blackridge is fair," I muttered. The name tasted acidic. Rumors had been circling for months. Blackridge Pack, mountain-based and expansion-hungry, had been pushing into city-adjacent territories, making offers to smaller packs, buying up properties. I didn't like it. My wolf didn't like it. "They won't touch you," Michael said quietly. I blinked. "I didn't say—" "You didn't have to." His eyes met mine in the mirror. "The bond's not subtle, Sarah. I can feel when your brain starts building disaster flowcharts. Rude. Accurate." He pressed a kiss to the sensitive edge of my jaw. The world narrowed to the warm slide of his mouth, the way his thumbs stroked absent little circles on my waist. "If you feel dizzy, you cancel the call," he murmured. "I don't care if the witches call me overprotective. I'll proudly wear the t-shirt." "If I cancel, they'll think we're desperate," I pointed out. "Desperate packs don't get good deals. They get taken over." His reflection frowned. "We're not desperate." "No," I said, "but our elders smell opportunity like blood in water. They like to pretend they're above it, but half of them only learned what email is last year. If they get spooked, they'll lean toward whatever looks strong enough to protect the legacy. Blackridge, he said, the word flat. Blackridge, I agreed. Which is why we need the coven. If we show the council we can secure partnerships without selling our souls to the first war alpha who barks loud enough, we survive. He watched me in the mirror for a long moment. Then he kissed my temple. This, he said softly, is why I mated you. Not just because you're beautiful and you smell like cinnamon when you're plotting, because you see the long game when all I want to do is punch things. You can still punch things, I said, preferably after I've negotiated liability and healing costs. A slow grin tugged at his mouth. Deal. For a heartbeat, things were simple. Just a woman with a dangerous mind, her overprotective alpha, and the secret between them humming like a star. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, breaking the moment. I grabbed it and glanced at the screen. Jade. Lunch, TMRW, or are you too famous now? I snorted. Jade? Michael asked, catching the flash of my cousin's name. Yeah, she wants to gossip and bully me into eating fries, I said. I'm going to let her. Doctor said light nausea is fine. Jade translated it as eat like a raccoon while you still can. He smiled faintly. We owe her a lot. We did. When rogues tore through our old mountain pack when I was 16, Jade's human stepfather had been the one to shove us into a cellar. We'd watched our alpha die through the cracks of a wooden door. Later, when Michael, then Beta, dragged the survivors into the city to start over, Jade had followed. We'd slept on her floor for weeks. She'd been my first laugh after the massacre, the one who dared me to sneak into a human club with fake IDs and terrible shoes. She worked in admin at Midnight General now, half wolf, half human by blood, all sharp tongue and heavy eyeliner. She was the first person I'd told when I missed my period. You okay? Michael asked, watching my face. Yeah. I tucked the phone into my blazer pocket. Just a lot. His hand slid from my waist to my shoulders, turning me to face him instead of my reflection. Hey. He tipped my chin up with one finger. Look at me, not the panic mirror. I met his eyes. The bond pulsed again, steadier this time. You are not alone in this, he said. In the pregnancy, in the politics, in the my cousin overshares about her hookup life in hospital cafeterias situation. All of it. I laughed, some of the tightness in my chest easing. You say that now. Wait until my cravings kick in and I decide I can only survive on mangoes and rage. I'll buy out the mango market, he said solemnly. Rage is complimentary. Alpha much? I teased. Luna very. He kissed me once more, softer. Go call the witches. I'll oversee patrol shift rotations and then join you. If anyone gives you trouble, tell them I said to remember the last time someone underestimated you. They're not scared of me, I said automatically. His eyes darkened. They should be. If you're listening to this and thinking, okay, but what would I do if I found out my cousin sold my medical records to my enemy? Go ahead and drop it in the comments for Rene's romance stories. Beg? Forgive? Burn it all down? I'm curious how human you still are. Because me? I thought I was human about it. I thought I was calm. I thought I could handle betrayal with grace. That was before the fire, before the attack, before I realized some secrets don't just break you, they light you up from the inside out. And the girl with the gentle voice? She was never harmless. She was a match waiting for the right strike. Chapter 2. If you've ever had a cousin who thinks your life is both inspirational and personally offensive, you understand Jade. She's the kind of girl who walks into a room and makes 3 people laugh, 2 people roll their eyes, and 1 person consider therapy. Glitter eyeliner, neon braids, a personality held together by caffeine, gossip, and generational trauma. We grew up together, ate ramen on the same floor, survived the same massacre. Which is why part of me still believed, hoped, that Jade Lawson would never, ever betray me. That hopeful part of me was stupid. I met her for lunch the next day at Midnight General because apparently I enjoy trauma bonding over cheap fries. The cafeteria was exactly what you'd expect. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like dying insects, the faint scent of antiseptic battling aggressively with overcooked tater tots, and humans whispering about how a VIP werewolf delegation was touring the new emergency wing. Spoiler, that VIP delegation was me with a clipboard. Jade was already there, waving her hand like she was trying to land a plane. "Luna! Over here! The seat with the least mysterious stains." I immediately regretted my life choices. "Can we not yell my title next to the vending machines?" I hissed, sliding into the seat across from her. "Please understand the vending machine corner is where bored interns hide to cry. It is not sacred ground." Jade popped a fry into her mouth like she was in a commercial. "Relax, everybody already knows who you are. Your face is literally on the prenatal clinic expansion posters. You're like a local icon." "I'm a pregnant icon who wants to eat in peace," I muttered. "Pregnancy looks good on you," she said, poking my arm. "You're glowing." "That's sweat," I said, "and fear." "Sexy." I rolled my eyes and grabbed my sandwich. "How's work?" "Oh, girl," she sighed dramatically. "Chaos. Dr. Bishop fainted because he didn't realize the new wound care nurse is a vampire. One of the human interns keeps asking if we howl during meetings. And the new EHR system. Absolute garbage. I swear it was coded by demons." "Witches," I corrected. "We won that grant from the Coven." "Explains the glitches," she said, dead serious. Then, as casually as someone asking about the weather, she added, "So, how are your labs?" My stomach tightened. "Great," I said lightly. "Textbook perfect. Why?" She sipped her soda. "No reason. Just saw they hit the system yesterday." I blinked. "They shouldn't have. The doctor said results were delayed to next week." She froze mid-sip. It lasted half a second. A tiny, tiny glitch in her expression. Then she laughed, too loud, too fast. "Oh, yeah, I mean, delayed, right? Maybe the system just pinged it. The new software spits out fake alerts sometimes. Don't freak out." I waited for the tone in her voice that usually made me relax. It didn't come. "Everything's fine, Sarah," she said, reaching across the table to tap my hand. "Nothing weird. If anything was weird, I'd tell you." My wolf stirred uneasily. "She's lying," she whispered. "Something's off." "Okay," I said, because I had no proof. "Just checking." I took a bite of my sandwich, pretending everything was normal. Jade smiled brightly and changed the subject. She talked about makeup. She talked about her latest situationship, a human paramedic with biceps like dreams and emotional availability like a drought. She talked about her mother's physical therapy. She talked about everything except why my records were being accessed early. And I realized something new. Jade was avoiding eye contact every time I mentioned the pregnancy, as if the words themselves burned. When lunch ended, she hugged me tight. Too tight. "Love you, cuz." "Love you too," I whispered. And I meant it. That's the problem with loving people who end up cutting you. You always mean it. I didn't have to wait long before the universe slapped me with the answer I didn't want. Around 6 p.m., my tablet pinged with a security alert. I opened it expecting low-stakes nonsense. Instead, I found myself staring at a flagged report from PAX Security. Subject: unusual access attempts. Medical record: Hale, Sarah Flagg. Multiple external queries in 48 hours. Note: admin login used, proxy mask detected. I read it once, twice, 3 times. Then I hit the call button so fast the tablet almost slipped out of my hand. "Luna?" Luca answered, voice clipped. "We're already on it." "What does this mean?" I demanded. "What kind of access attempts?" "Exactly what it says," he replied. "Your file was pulled multiple times from different terminals at Midnight General, 3 by named users, 1 masked through another device." "And the admin account used?" "Sarah." His tone shifted. Heavy. Hesitant. "It's Jade's." My stomach dropped clean through the floor. "That doesn't make sense," I said automatically. She wouldn't. She's sloppy with passwords, maybe, but she wouldn't. Someone must have used her login without permission. We considered that, Luca said gently. We're tracing patterns. But the proxy access? That came from her department's sublevel, and the timestamp matches one of her shifts. My throat tightened. Luca, is there any chance at all that this is nothing? Luna, he said quietly, this is not nothing. I pressed a shaking hand to my forehead. Does Michael know? Not yet. Protocol says I notify you both at the same time, but I took the risk. I thought you'd want to hear first. I closed my eyes. My wolf paced beneath my skin, uneasy and enraged and wounded. Thank you, I whispered. Give me a few hours. You have 12, he said. That's the most I can give without breaking protocol. I'll talk to her. Sarah, I'll talk to her, I repeated. There was a beat of silence. Be careful, he murmured. I ended the call and stared at the darkened screen. 12 hours. 12 hours until Michael found out someone had been mining my health data like it was cryptocurrency. 12 hours until he found out that someone was my cousin. 12 hours before he lost the last scrap of faith he still had in her. And 12 hours before I had to decide how far blood ties actually stretched in this world. I changed into something less. Luna. Loose joggers, oversized hoodie, hair in a half bun that said, I look soft, but I will throw hands. I paced our living room until the carpet formed a groove. The city lights glittered outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. I watched the flicker of traffic, the flash of sirens, the blur of nightlife like it was another world. Inside these walls, I was Luna. Outside these walls, I was just Sarah. Inside these walls, Jade was family. Outside these walls, I wasn't sure anymore. I stared at my phone. Then I typed, Sarah, come over? Mocktails and fries? Need to talk. 3 seconds. Jade, you okay? Jade, also yes, fries. Jade, on my way. My stomach curled. My wolf growled. Be careful, she said. But careful comes too late when the betrayal is already under your roof. If you've ever had to confront someone you love about the knife in your back, then you already know. This is the part of the story where the quiet girl stops being quiet, and the flame starts to spread. Chapter 3. I'm not dramatic. Okay, sometimes I'm dramatic, but only about important things, like betrayal and French fries. Tonight was both. I set the scene before Jade arrived. Floor lamps on, warm glow, cozy, deceptively harmless. Scent candles lit, lavender plus something called foggy forest, which felt appropriate for impending doom. 2 mocktails on the coffee table, strawberry mojitos, extra mint. A plate of fries between them, because frying someone emotionally is cruel unless you also feed them. My wolf paced just under my skin. Tense, watchful, hurt. You don't understand betrayal until it comes wearing your childhood memories. She comes, in bright and chaotic. The elevator dinged. Jade burst in wearing neon pink scrubs, glitter still clinging to her eyelids, hair in long red braids piled like a crown. Girl, why is your apartment always smelling like a plant-based spa? She demanded, dropping her bag and kicking off her sneakers. Also, where is the alcohol? Don't lie. I know you have the expensive stuff for guests. She stopped, eyes narrowing. You're too quiet. What happened? Did Michael eat your leftovers again? I told you to label them for witch rituals. I forced a smile. Soft. Controlled. Sit, I said gently. She did, after giving me a confused side-eye, plopping onto the sofa and snatching a fry. You pregnant people have weird energy, she muttered around a mouthful. Like serene and stressed at the same time. You knew I was pregnant before I told you, I said. Fry halfway to her mouth, Jade froze. A tiny flicker. Barely a heartbeat. But enough. She forced a laugh. Oh, please, I saw your face after the doctor handed you the little printout. You looked like someone told you your uterus won the lottery. Jade. Something in my tone had her straightening. Silence stretched. "What's going on?" she asked cautiously. "You're scaring me." "Good." The screen between us. I reached for the tablet on the coffee table and slid it toward her. The audit log glowed bright in the dim room. Access. Hale, Sarah. User, J. Lawson. Time, 9:12. Access. Hale, Sarah. User, J. Lawson. Time, 10:03. Access. Hale, Sarah. User, J. Lawson. Time, 12:47. Access. Hale, Sarah. User, unknown. Proxy, J. Lawson. Time, 13:22. She blinked at it once, twice, then she laughed, the brittle, sharp kind. "Is this some kind of joke? Are you testing the new system? Because that glitchy demon software has been mixing up logs for weeks. Don't lie to me," I said softly. Her jaw tightened. "I'm not lying. You looked at my file 4 times. It wasn't 4. 3 from your direct login," I continued, voice low and even, "and 1 from a ghost machine in the sub-basement routed through your ID. She swallowed. Hard. Her hands curled into fists on her knees. "Sarah," she said slowly, "you know how many idiots use each other's logins around here. The system's trash. My username is practically public property. I told the IT team—" "Jade!" The word cracked like a whip. Her gaze snapped to mine. "This is me," I whispered. "Not Luna, not Alpha's mate. Me, your family. Tell me the truth." Something flickered behind her eyes. Guilt, panic, shame? It flashed, then vanished so fast I almost doubted seeing it. Then her shoulders slumped, barely perceptible. "Okay," she breathed. "Fine, I accessed it." I exhaled shakily. "Why?" "Because I was worried," she snapped back. "You were pale at the appointment. You said you felt dizzy. I just wanted to double-check the labs before you freaked out and WebMD'd yourself into a coma. Happy now?" I studied her face. My wolf studied her scent. Both came to the same conclusion. Lie. "It wasn't just you checking on me," I said quietly. "Someone else used your login. Someone hid behind your credentials. And the timing of those accesses lines up with a Blackridge data sweep." Her head jerked up. "Excuse me?" "You didn't just peek at my labs," I continued. "Someone used your access to copy my entire medical file." "I didn't." She stopped, swallowing the rest of the sentence. "Okay, maybe someone used my login. But it wasn't me. You know how desperate people are. Everyone's broke. Everyone's tired. You're Luna now. You don't understand how it feels to be barely hanging on." A cold pit formed in my stomach. "How much did they pay you?" I asked softly. Her breath stuttered. "What?" "How much did Blackridge pay you for my records?" She stood so fast the table rattled. "Oh, screw you, Sarah. You think I sold you out? After everything? After what we survived together?" "I'm asking," I whispered. "Because the evidence is right here, and the only person with that level of admin clearance is you." Her eyes filled with furious tears. "You think I want your life?" she cried. "You think this," she gestured around my apartment, "isn't a constant reminder that you got everything I didn't?" I swallowed. "Jade, no." She wiped a tear angrily. "You got the mate, the title, the home, the power. You got chosen, by the pack, by Michael, by fate. And what did I get? Night shifts and debt and a mother who can't afford the damn treatment she needs." I took a slow breath. "So you sold my records. She hesitated a fraction too long. "Didn't know it would hurt you." There it was, the truth, thin, trembling, ugly. "Nothing personal," she whispered. "They said it wouldn't hurt you, just information, statistics, negotiation leverage. I needed the money, Sarah. I needed it so bad." My throat closed. My wolf whimpered. I whispered, "You told them I was pregnant." She squeezed her eyes shut. "They said it was just for a demographic analysis." "They sent men to my door last night," I said, "to take me, to take my child." Jade froze, entire body, breath, eyes. "What?" she whispered. Blackridge came into my home because someone gave them everything they needed to target me. I didn't. Oh my God, Sarah. She shook her head violently. They told me they just wanted data. Raw numbers. They didn't say. They promised. I didn't know. The words fell apart in her mouth, one by one. And in that moment, I knew she was telling the truth. But only about that part. Not about the choice she made, not about the money she took, not about the loyalty she broke. It wasn't personal, she sobbed. I panicked. I needed a way out. I felt something inside me go very still. Not rage, not sorrow, just stillness. Cold, clear, absolute. Get out, I said softly. Jade flinched. Sarah, please, I didn't mean, get out. She stared at me with wide, wet eyes. Shock, shame, guilt, and just a hint of defensiveness still clinging to her like perfume. Then, without another word, she grabbed her bag and walked out. She didn't slam the door. Somehow that made it worse. And when she left? The apartment fell quiet. Too quiet. My wolf curled around my center, trembling with a hurt so deep it felt ancient. My hands shook, my pulse roared. The betrayal sat under my ribs like a bruise I hadn't felt until someone pressed on it. I whispered into the silence. That was personal. And somewhere in the city, Blackridge wolves looked up, because the quiet flame inside me had just been lit, and it was about to burn every illusion in my way. Chapter 4. I didn't cry when Jade left. I thought I would. When your cousin, the girl who held your hand during nightmares and stole your clothes in high school, walks out of your apartment after confessing she sold your medical file to a rival pack, crying feels like the correct human response. Instead, I stood perfectly still, listening to the soft click of the door closing. My wolf lowered her head and growled so low it vibrated in my bones. Family, she whispered, voice warped with fury. She was family. Was, I whispered. Not is. Not anymore. I walked slowly through the living room, my fingers trailing the back of the couch like I was grounding myself. Everything looked the same. Soft, golden lamplight, my half-finished mocktail, Michael's jacket slung over the armchair, a baby namebook I'd tucked under a blanket like a secret. But nothing felt the same. The air tasted wrong, like someone had cracked open the world and let the cold in. I sat down on the couch stiffly, placing both hands on my stomach. The baby wasn't even the size of a lemon yet, but I curled protectively around where I felt them. Don't worry, I whispered. I won't let anyone touch you. My voice was steady. Too steady. My wolf nuzzled against me from the inside, warm, aching. She didn't speak, she just hurt. My phone buzzed against the couch cushion. Michael. I stared at the screen until it stopped buzzing, then started again. I didn't answer. He was still finishing patrol shifts. If I picked up now, right now, he would hear every fracture in my voice. He would sense every spike of betrayal in the bond. He would drop everything and come barreling home, storming into the hospital, into Jade's life, into Blackridge's warpath. And I needed information first. I needed space. I needed to breathe without drowning. I need control, my wolf whispered. She wasn't wrong. I finally sent a text. Sarah, I'm okay, long day. Can we talk when you're home? Instant reply. Michael, 10 minutes. Don't move. Commanding alpha energy, my favorite and least favorite trait. I put my phone face down. I didn't want him to hear the panic simmering under my skin. I picked up my tablet to distract myself. Bad idea. The screen lit up with a red banner. Security. Alert. Additional ghost access detected. File. Hale. Sarah. Timestamp. 5 minutes ago. My blood went cold. 5 minutes? I whispered. That was after Jade left. Meaning whoever was accessing my records hadn't stopped. Meaning this wasn't a one-person betrayal. Meaning Jade wasn't the only crack in my world. My pulse spiked. My wolf slammed against my ribs, lips curled. Pack traitors, more than one. We are not safe. I dug into the logs, scrolling through numbers, looking for patterns, IP addresses, subterminal IDs, data pathways. Whoever was accessing my file was smart, patternless, using stolen credentials, rotating access points, slipping through cracks in the system like trained operatives. I swallowed hard. This wasn't just a desperate cousin trying to pay rent. This was organized, professional, coordinated. My stomach twisted until nausea climbed my throat. "Who are you?" I whispered into the empty room. And then, quietly, coldly, the truth settled. Not who. Which pack? I heard him from the hallway. Michael doesn't walk like a normal person. He moves like power pressed into human form. Controlled, precise, lethal. The elevator dinged. Footsteps, a pause, a low growl. He felt it. The bond between us sharpened like a blade. I barely had time to stand before the door opened. Michael stepped inside, hair damp from the rain, white shirt clinging to his chest, pupils blown so wide his eyes looked almost black. Sarah. Just my name, nothing else. And somehow it was enough to break something in me. He crossed the room in 3 strides and cupped my face, scanning my eyes, my scent, my pulse, every instinct in him screaming protective fury. "What happened?" he demanded softly. "Your emotions spiked. The bond went tight. Talk to me." I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. My throat closed. Tears I didn't know I'd been holding swelled. Then, his arms wrapped around me. Not gently, desperately, like he was trying to pull the panic out of me and crush it in his hands. I sagged into him, forehead hitting his chest. The scent of his skin, cedar, clean rain, alpha heat, flooded my senses, and for a moment I could breathe again. "I'm okay," I whispered into his shirt, shaky and unconvincing. He pulled back just enough to meet my eyes. "No," he said, "you aren't. And I can feel that you aren't." His thumb brushed under my eye. I hadn't realized I'd cried. "Tell me," he murmured. "Whatever it is, we face it, together." I swallowed. "Someone accessed my file again," I said quietly. "Just minutes ago." His entire body stiffened. "And I confronted Jade," I continued. "She admitted parts of it, lied about others. She's involved, Michael. She took money. She gave them information." His jaw clenched so hard I heard the crack. I rushed on before he exploded. "She claims she didn't know it would go this far. But she also didn't stop. And she wasn't alone. Someone else accessed my file after she left." His breath came heavy. Not in anger, but in terrifying restraint. "How much do they know?" he asked. "Everything," I whispered. "They knew the pregnancy. The exact timing, the genetic markers, my hormone levels, the value." "The value?" His voice dropped to a dangerous growl. "The value of the heir," I clarified hollowly. Something in Michael broke. I felt it snap through the bond, an eruption of protectiveness so fierce it almost knocked me backward. He didn't shout, he didn't rage, he went quiet. Too quiet. "We're locking down the tower," he said, voice tight steel. "We're pulling every access point, every login, every staff member, and Jade—" "She left," I said quickly. He didn't blink. "Then we bring her back." The tone in his voice meant willingly or in chains. I touched his chest. "Not yet." His eyes snapped to mine. "Sarah, I need more information," I said. "More than logs, more than guesses. If we move too early, they'll cover their tracks and disappear. And then we won't know how far the betrayal goes." His jaw worked. He hated it. He knew I was right. "You're not doing this alone," he said after a long breath. "Not anymore. Not tonight. Not ever." He pulled me close again, one hand on my stomach, the other cradling the back of my head. "They won't touch you," he murmured into my hair. "Not while I breathe." A chill ran through me. Not fear, recognition, because something inside me, something I hadn't fully acknowledged, felt the same way. Something warm, something ancient, something simmering, Not rage, not pain. Something hotter, something sharper, something that wanted to burn. Michael didn't notice the faint heat ghosting along my skin. But my wolf did. "We're not prey," she whispered. "We're fire." And in that moment, I knew. The attack wasn't over, the betrayal wasn't finished, and the quiet flame inside me was just beginning to wake. Chapter 5. I wasn't afraid of the dark. Not before that night. I used to like it. The quiet hush after the city noise faded. The way Crescent Tower hummed with soft, mechanical life. How the moonlight painted silver bars across our bedroom floor. But the dark that night, it felt wrong. Like something had slipped inside it. Like something was watching. After telling Michael everything, Jade, the ghost access, the second attempt, I sat curled on the couch while he paced like a caged storm. "My mother's going to lose her mind," he muttered. "My father is going to demand an immediate council assembly. Luca's going to break a blood vessel, and Jade," he shook his head, jaw ticking, "we'll deal with her later." I didn't respond. Not because I didn't want to, but because my wolf kept circling, restless and furious and whispering things I didn't want to hear. "Betrayal smells like this," she said. "Metal, smoke, fear." Michael finally stopped pacing. "You're shaking," he said softly. "Come here." I let him pull me into his arms. For a moment, just a moment, it felt like the world was okay again. His chin rested on my hair, his hand splayed protectively over my still flat stomach, our bond warm and steady. "Nothing is going to happen to you," he whispered. His certainty should have soothed me. It didn't. Because something in the air shifted, just slightly, like the world inhaled sharply. And then, the lights went out, all at once. Not a flicker, not a dim, just black, pure, absolute, suffocating. Michael's arms tightened around me instantly. His wolf surged up so fast the air crackled. "Stay behind me," he snarled, pushing me gently but firmly back toward the bedroom. "Michael." "Sarah, bond to me. Now." I reached for him through the bond, felt the electric pull, the heat of his power, the razor-sharp edge of his fear. But before I could speak, the emergency lights did not flicker on. Silence swallowed the apartment. Then, the elevator dinged outside our door. A sound I had heard 1,000 times. A sound that should have been comforting. Tonight, it was a knife sliding through my spine. Michael moved instantly, silent, lethal, every muscle coiled. His wolf was so close he could barely keep his human shape steady. "Our elevators don't work during outages," he murmured, voice low and deadly. "Someone hacked the grid." "Blackridge?" I whispered, his jaw flexed. "Someone better pray it's not." We stood frozen, listening. Footsteps. 3 sets. Slow, heavy, confident, getting closer. My wolf pressed against my skin, snarling, "Danger, pack killers, blood thieves, protect the child." Michael's eyes went pitch black. "Sarah," he breathed, "move back into the bedroom, lock the door, do not come out unless I tell you." I clenched my fists. "I'm not leaving you." "Sarah, I'm not leaving you." His nostrils flared. "You're pregnant." "I'm still a wolf." "A wolf with a heartbeat inside her," he hissed. "You're the one thing they want. I can't fight if I'm afraid you're behind me." That landed like a blow, not because it was manipulative, but because it was true. I stepped back toward the bedroom. He exhaled, relieved. Then, the doorknob turned, just like before, silent, smooth, wrong. Michael's head whipped toward the door, teeth bared. "They got past the wards," he whispered. "Impossible." And then the door opened. Not kicked, not broken, just opened. 3 Blackridge wolves stepped inside. Same uniforms, same silver crest, same calm, invasive scent. Same man in front, Scarjaw. The one who said, "We know you're pregnant." The one who smiled when he told me Jade had sold my records. He took one look at Michael, and his smile didn't falter, but something cold flashed in his eyes. "Alpha Hale," he said politely. "We didn't expect you home so fast." Michael didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't blink. His wolf was right under his skin, one breath away from tearing the man in half. "What are you doing in my home?" he asked quietly. Scarjaw glanced at me, and that was his last mistake. Michael lunged. It was a blur, a thundercrack of motion as his fist connected with Scarjaw's jaw so hard the man flew sideways into the wall. The other two moved instantly, rushing forward. Michael met the first with a snarl, slamming him into the kitchen counter. The second reached for me, and I didn't think, didn't plan, didn't scream. I just broke. Not the quiet break from Jade, not the subtle shatter of disappointment. This break was loud, raw, elemental. A strike of lightning hitting everything inside me at once, and fire answered. White gold flames burst from my chest in a ring. Not outward, not like an explosion, inward, around me, through me. The air heated, shimmering like a mirage. The glamour clinging to the wolves peeled back in strips, revealing their true auras, sharp, jagged, dripping malicious intent. And then, the runes hidden in our doorframe lit up, burning, blazing, exposing themselves, black symbols written in stolen blood, glamours, cloaking spells, ward disruptors, all the invisible scaffolding that let these wolves infiltrate our home. It flared bright, then burned. My flames devoured every false thing in the room, and only the truth remained. Scarjaw staggered up, wiping blood from his mouth. He stared at the blazing doorway, then at me, then at the flames dancing across my skin. "Fire wolf," he breathed. "No, impossible." Behind him, the second wolf, now fully exposed without illusion, froze mid-step. Michael turned, chest heaving, blood dripping from his knuckles. He stared at me like he was seeing a ghost or a miracle or both. "Sarah," he whispered, "what did you—" I didn't know. I still don't know. All I knew was this. My fire didn't hurt me. It didn't burn Michael. It didn't scorch anything that belonged to us. It only burned lies, illusions, secrets, threats. Scarjaw stumbled backward, eyes wide. "Alpha Blackridge will want her alive," Michael snarled. "He'll get nothing but your ashes." The wolf lunged. Michael intercepted him instantly. But something else was happening to me. Something terrifying, something powerful. The flames around me shifted, no longer just burning illusions. They licked toward the wolves like they wanted to judge them, and when the flames touched Scarjaw, a vision hit me like a wave. His alpha, Rene Blackridge, standing over a map of Crescent territory. My ultrasound photo pinned to the corner. A plan, a timeline. My child highlighted as an asset. My breath ripped out of me. I gasped. The flames surged brighter. The wolves reacted like I'd stabbed them. And then, Scarjaw grabbed something from his belt. A small black sphere. He threw it at my feet. It hit the floor and burst in a flash of frost. A cold burst ripped through the room, sucking the heat out of the fire, out of me, out of the air around us. A stun bomb, designed to disrupt elemental wolves. The flames flickered, then dimmed, then vanished. My knees buckled. Michael yelled my name. His arms caught me before I hit the floor. Somewhere through the ringing in my ears, I heard Scarjaw choke out, "Alpha Blackridge will return for what's his." Michael's growl shook the walls. "What's his?" he hissed. "She is mine. That child is mine. Get out of my home before I bury you in it." Scarjaw and his wolves vanished in a smoke teleport glyph before Michael could tear them apart. Cowards. My vision tunneled, sound melted into static. The last thing I saw before the world went black was Michael's face, terrified, furious, and holding me like he'd rather lose the whole city than lose me. When I woke up, the world wasn't the same anymore, because the quiet Luna was gone, and whatever I was now, whatever fire was waking inside me, wasn't going back to sleep. Chapter 6. When I came back to consciousness, everything was soft. Soft light, soft sheets, soft sounds, muffled voices, footsteps, a distant hum of magic stabilizers being reset. For one blissful second, I thought I was dreaming. Then the world sharpened. Michael's scent hit me first, cedar, heat, and storm air, wrapped around me so tightly my lungs ached from it. Then the faint sting of disinfectant, the cold touch of healing runes stitched into the headboard. The ache behind my ribs like someone had rung me like a bell. My eyelids fluttered open. I was in our bedroom. But not alone. Michael sat beside me, elbows on his knees, head bowed like he'd been holding his breath for hours. His shirt was bloody, not his blood, and his knuckles were scraped raw. His hair was a wreck. His eyes, when he finally looked up, were not the calm alpha eyes I knew. They were wolf, black, wild, terrified. Sarah. My name cracked out of him like he'd been choking on it. Before I could speak, he was touching me, hands running over my arms, my face, my legs, checking for injuries I didn't even feel. "Does anything hurt?" he demanded. "Tell me. Now." "No," I whispered. I'm okay." His breath shuddered like that answer physically broke him. He cupped the back of my neck, pulling me into his chest, holding me like he was afraid I'd vanish if he loosened his grip. "I thought I lost you," he whispered into my hair. "I thought, they took you, your pulse, your fire disappearing. Sarah, I thought, I'm here," I murmured. "I'm not going anywhere." He exhaled shakily, the bond humming warm between us. But beneath that warmth, something else pulsed. Fear, fury, and under it all, a deep, primal protectiveness so strong it felt like another heartbeat. He finally leaned back enough to look at me. His hands trembled. "Sarah," he said slowly, voice gravel rough, "I need you to tell me exactly what happened. Every detail, every sensation, every spark." I swallowed. Because now that the room was quiet, now that I wasn't swinging a candlestick at strangers, I felt it. The heat, not burning me, not hurting me, just waiting. A low ember curled under my ribs, pulsing faintly with my heartbeat. Alive, awake, not going back to sleep. Michael must have sensed the shift because he stilled, eyes widening. "Sarah," he whispered, "your aura is glowing." I blinked. "My... what?" He nodded toward the full-length mirror. I turned my head and froze. There was a faint shimmer around my body, barely visible like heat on asphalt, white and gold and soft as candlelight. Michael exhaled like he'd taken a punch. "That," he whispered, "is elemental aura, fire class, but it's different. Different. Understatement of the year." He touched my cheek gently like I was made of glass or flame. He wasn't sure which. "What did you feel before the fire hit?" he asked. "Walk me through it." I closed my eyes and breathed. I felt... the memory hit like a rush of wind. Hurt. Not just Jade, everything, the lies, the threats, those men in our home. My fists tightened. And then something inside me snapped. But not in a bad way, more like something woke up. Michael nodded slowly. "And the flames?" "They didn't burn me," I whispered. "They didn't burn you. They didn't burn anything that belonged to us." His brows lifted. But the runes, the glamours, the intruder's spells, those burned. "Yes." "And the wolves?" I swallowed. "Their illusions melted. Their real faces showed. Their true sense." Michael's eyes darkened. "You burned through their magic." I nodded. "I think that's what the fire does. It burns lies, and illusions, and things that don't belong." He stared at me like I'd just rewritten reality. "Sarah," he breathed, voice hushed. "That's a truth flame." I blinked. "A what now?" "A myth," he said. "A legend. A fire wolf so rare it's considered extinct. A wolf who can't be deceived, who burns everything false or corrupt, whose flames expose what others try to hide. Their power wasn't about destruction, it was about revelation." Revelation. The word settled into my bones. It's not supposed to exist, he added. I huffed a shaky laugh. Great, and here I thought I was just having a dramatic meltdown. Michael didn't laugh. He leaned forward, pressing his forehead against mine. You are not a meltdown, he whispered. You are a miracle. His voice wavered on the last word. But the bond showed me what he wasn't saying. I almost lost you. I won't survive that happening again. I will burn the world to keep you alive. I touched his jaw. That stun bomb? I whispered. It hit me harder than them. It was designed for elemental wolves, he muttered. They were prepared. They came ready for someone with power. But not this power. No, he agreed. Not this. He sat back, rubbing his hands over his face. We need answers, he said. Your lineage, your mother's side, your grandmother's. Someone passed this to you. A spike of grief hit me. My mother is gone, I whispered. Michael softened immediately. I know, love. I know. He tangled his fingers with mine. But we'll find the truth, he said. Carefully, quietly, before Blackridge figures out what you are. I swallowed the knot in my throat. They already know something. They don't know enough, he snapped. And they won't. He leaned forward, eyes locking onto mine. You listen to me now, Sarah Hale. His voice dropped to a low, trembling vow. You are not alone in this. You are not unprotected. You are not prey. You are my Luna, my mate, the mother of my child, and the first truth-flame wolf in generations. Emotion cracked my chest open. And anyone who touches you, he whispered, will burn. My wolf shivered in agreement. Heat rippled under my skin, not uncontrollable, not wild, responsive, aware, like fire, stretching. Michael, I whispered. I think it hears you. His eyes widened. The fire? I nodded, pulse racing. It's linked to truth, to intent, to emotion. I think it reacts to whatever is real. Michael blew out a slow, unsteady breath. Then you must stay near me, he said, because my truth will always be the same. What truth? I breathed. His fingers slid under my chin. You are mine, he said softly. And I will protect you until my last breath. The fire flickered in my peripheral vision. Tiny, soft, a shimmer of gold, not dangerous, not hostile, just alive. Michael's breath hitched. It's listening to us. I touched my belly, breath trembling. And the baby? I whispered. He covered my hand with his. That child, he said quietly, is already more powerful than every wolf in this city. I exhaled, chest tight with awe and terror and something fierce and overwhelming. We need to tell the council, I whispered. Michael shook his head. Not yet, not until we know who in the council is loyal. Someone was working with Jade, yes. Someone else accessed my file, yes. And someone helped hide Blackridge's runes inside our apartment. Michael's jaw locked. And I will find them, he vowed. Every last one. I stared at him. At the man who would burn down the world for me. At the alpha who nearly lost everything tonight. At the father whose child had already been targeted. And I realized tonight wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning of war, of truth, of fire, of me. As Michael pulled me into his arms, exhaustion finally dragged at my bones. But just before I drifted, I heard something, a whisper, soft as smoke, warm as embers. Not my wolf, not my thoughts, something older, something in my blood. Awake, it said. Burn what is false, protect what is yours. And then I slept. Chapter 7. When I woke again, it was daylight. Not warm sunlight, crescent tower sunlight. Filtered through reinforced glass, soft with caution, bright with expectations. And heavy, so heavy. Michael hadn't left my side. He was sitting in bed beside me, one hand resting protectively on my stomach, the other gripping his phone like he wanted to crush it with his bare hands. Hey, I croaked, His head snapped up instantly. Sarah. He exhaled shakily. Relief cracked through his voice like lightning through storm clouds. "How long was I out?" I asked. 4 hours. His jaw flexed, and every second was hell. I tried to sit up. My muscles protested but didn't fail. "How's the baby?" It came out small, scared, vulnerable, the opposite of the fire I showed last night. Michael placed his palm over my stomach. A deep rumble of his wolf vibrated through the bond. "Strong," he said softly. Heartbeat steady, no distress. A wave of relief left me dizzy. He kissed my forehead. Then his voice dropped into alpha command mode. "We have to go downstairs." I stiffened. "The council?" "Yes." My pulse skittered. "They're already gathering?" "They've been gathering all morning." His jaw locked. "And they want answers." "About the attack?" "And about Jade." His tone turned lethal on the name. I swallowed hard. She betrayed us." Michael cupped my cheek, thumb brushing softly. "She did. And the pack needs to see that you aren't fragile or blind. We handle this together." "Does the council know what I did?" I whispered. He paused. "They know you fought." He chose that word carefully. "But do they know I burned through illusions? Do they know what I am?" "No," he said firmly. "Not yet. Not until we decide who can be trusted." I nodded slowly, because the truth flame didn't just expose others. If revealed too soon, it would expose me, my bloodline, my power, my child. "Okay," I whispered. "Let's go." He squeezed my hand once, hard. And we went. Walking into judgment. The elevator ride to the council floors felt like descending into a trial. My wolf paced beneath my skin, slow, focused, alert, no flames. Just heat simmering in my bones. As we stepped out onto floor 35, pack members bowed, murmured respectful greetings, avoided eye contact, not out of disrespect, out of fear. Wolves knew when power had shifted. They could smell it. And I smelled like smoke. Michael placed a steadying hand on my back as we walked into the council hall. A long chamber with glass walls, a circular table, and too many eyes watching us. Elders, gamma leaders, administrative heads, Michael's parents, and Jade. My breath hitched. She sat shackled to a reinforced chair, silver thread cuffs glowing faintly, her wrists trembling. Her eyes found mine, red, swollen, ashamed, but also angry, because Jade never let accountability stand alone. She wrapped it in blame. Sarah," she whispered. I couldn't speak. Michael guided me to our seats, 2 elevated chairs facing the council. He stood behind me. A silent declaration. Anyone questioning me had to get through him. Elder Rowan, the oldest wolf in the pack, silver hair braided tight, spoke first. "Luna Hale, we are grateful you survived the attack." I inclined my head slightly. "Thank you." "And we are here," he continued, "to determine the source of the breach." His eyes flicked to Jade, then to me. "Would you recount the events of last night?" The room held its breath. Michael stepped forward. "I will recount—" "No," I interrupted softly. He froze. I stood, every head turned. "I'll speak for myself," I said, voice steady. My wolf hummed with approval. Jade looked like she was going to be sick. I told them everything, not about the flames, not yet, but about the power outage, the elevator opening, the wolves in tactical armor, the theft of my records, the danger to my child, and Jade. Especially Jade. When I said her name, the room shifted. Some elders stiffened, some sighed, some whispered. Jade herself flinched like the word cut her. "She admitted she accessed my file," I said. "She admitted someone paid her. She knew it was wrong. She knew the risks." Jade jerked forward. "I didn't know they'd come for you. I swear, I didn't know." I looked at her, really looked. All the years of shared secrets, shared grief, shared bowls of ramen. Even those couldn't eclipse the truth sitting between us now. You didn't need to know, I said. You just needed the money. Her breath hitched. Tears spilled. Elder Rowan nodded. Thank you, Luna. We will now hear from... I'm not done, I said. Gasps scattered around the room. Michael moved subtly closer behind me. I'm not stupid, I continued quietly. And I'm not naive. Jade wasn't the only one accessing my file. Logs show multiple entries, ghost terminals, routing paths. Someone else helped hide Blackridge's spellwork inside the tower. A ripple of tension shot through the council. My gaze drifted across the room. To Evelyn Hale, Michael's mother, perfect hair, perfect posture, perfect mask of concern. But her scent, faint, off. A note I'd never noticed before. Guilt. The ember in my chest warmed, not flaring, not burning, just waiting. We have traitors, I said softly. More than one. And they didn't just target me. They targeted our pack, our heir, our future. Evelyn's fingers tightened around her silk shawl. I didn't miss it. Neither did Michael. His aura snapped like a storm, and Evelyn's eyes widened. Mother, he said coldly, is there anything you'd like to share with the council? The room froze. Evelyn looked at him, then at me, then away. A bad sign. Jade's eyes widened, too, as if she'd suddenly realized she wasn't the only guilty one. The council murmured, voices rising. Elder Rowan slammed a hand on the table. Order! The noise dropped instantly. Luna Hale, he said gravely, what do you propose as punishment for Jade Lawson? Punishment. The word hit like a blow. Jade stared at me. Her lips trembled. Her eyes filled again. Sarah, please. My chest squeezed. Because forgiveness is hardest when the person hurting you shares your blood. But I didn't let my face soften. I thought of the intruders, of the stun bomb, of the flames, of the vision. Ronan Blackridge holding my ultrasound picture. I felt Michael's presence behind me, warm, steady, waiting. The entire council held its breath as I spoke. Exile, I said. Jade gasped. Effective immediately, I continued. She cannot remain in this city. She cannot access pack grounds. She cannot receive pack privileges. She will be escorted to the outer territories with monitoring and binding restrictions. No, Sarah, please, Jade sobbed. I didn't. Please don't. My voice cracked. But I didn't waver. You sold my child, I whispered. And you expect to stay? Jade broke, collapsed. But I kept going. We do not kill family, I said. But we do not protect those who betray us. The council murmured in agreement. Some sad, some angry, some relieved. Jade lowered her head. And for the first time in my life, I didn't go to her. I didn't comfort her. I let her break. Because she had broken me first. Elder Rowan nodded solemnly. The council accepts the Luna's decision. Jade Lawson will... But then, the ember in my chest flared, a low, warm pulse. Not fire, not danger. A message, a truth. My eyes snapped to Evelyn. She froze. My wolf growled softly. Michael stiffened behind me. Luna? Elder Rowan asked. Is something wrong? I exhaled slowly. No, I said. Something is becoming clear. I didn't expose Evelyn. Not yet. Not here. But I knew. And she knew I knew. The hall emptied on that tension. Jade was escorted out in chains. And Evelyn Hale did not meet my eyes as she left the room. Good. Because the next time she did, she wouldn't be able to hide anything from me. Not anymore. Chapter 8. Nothing is heavier than silence you're pretending not to notice. Michael didn't speak as we left the council hall. I didn't speak either. Not because we were angry, because we were both listening to the bond between us, to the new ember inside me, to the dozens of unspoken truths buzzing around us like hornets. The elevator doors slid shut. Michael finally exhaled. You felt it too. Not a question. A statement. Yes, I whispered. He rubbed his hands over his face, a gesture I rarely saw. My controlled, composed alpha looked shaken. Not by the attack, not by Jade, but by the realization forming in both our minds. Evelyn Hale was hiding something. And my truth flame? It was hungry for it. Michael insisted I rest. I insisted I wasn't made of glass. We compromised. I lay on the couch, and he hovered like a terrifying 6'4" security blanket. "I need to check the cameras again," he muttered, pacing. "Someone helped Blackridge bypass our wards. Someone on the inside." His shoulders were rigid, his whole body trembling with a rage he was holding together by sheer force. "I'll find them," he growled. "I'll find all of them." The ember inside me pulsed. Agreement. My wolf stretched, alert, but something else tugged at me, a thread, a pull, a whisper, not magic, memory, something Evelyn once said, a small comment, nothing dramatic, the kind of thing you file away as irrelevant. "Your mother always reminded me of flame, too bright for mountain life." At the time, I thought it was poetic. Now, poetic felt like a lie. "Michael," I said quietly, "can I ask you something uncomfortable?" He froze, turned, looked at me with eyes that softened instantly. "You can ask me anything." My throat tightened. "Has your mother ever talked about my mother?" He blinked, once, twice, then frowned. "Not really. Why?" She said something once about flame, about my mother not fitting into mountain packs, about her being too bright. I didn't think anything of it." Michael's brows furrowed. "When?" "A year ago. At the engagement dinner." He looked away, jaw tight. "Sarah," he said after a moment, "there's something you should know." The room tilted. "What?" I whispered. He didn't answer immediately. He walked to me, sat beside me, and took my hand gently. "My mother," he said slowly, each word careful, "was part of the old Bloodline Preservation Council." My breath stopped. I'd heard of them. All wolves had. A secretive, ancient network of families who tracked rare bloodlines, elemental wolves, visionary wolves, healer wolves, wolves with abilities that could tip the balance of power between packs. They didn't protect bloodlines. They controlled them, or tried to. "Michael," my voice came out thin. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I thought she left it behind," he whispered. "She told me she did." The ember flared, hot, certain, unforgiving, lie. Michael saw my expression shift. "Sarah, what did you feel?" I exhaled slowly. "That was a lie, Michael. She never left. She's still involved." He stood abruptly, fury rippling through him like electricity. "Are you saying my mother, the woman who raised me, knew what you were? What your family was? What you could become?" "I think she knew something," I said softly. "Maybe not everything, but enough." He ran both hands through his hair. No, she wouldn't hide that from me. She wouldn't let Blackridge." He stopped mid-sentence. His body went still, his nostrils flared. And I knew, he just connected a dot neither of us wanted to see. "She wouldn't let Blackridge." "What?" I pressed gently. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. I already knew. If Evelyn Hale was part of the Preservation Council, and the Council traded information, and Blackridge had my records, then Evelyn, or the network she was still tied to, could have passed along intel without realizing the full danger, or worse, knowing exactly what she was doing. "I need to talk to her," Michael said, voice low and shaking. "Now!" Fear pricked my spine. "Michael, no," he shook his head. "If my mother betrayed us—" "Stop!" I grabbed his wrist. "You're not going alone. I won't let you near her if she's compromised, and I won't let you confront her while your wolf is this unstable." He froze, eyes dark, breathing tight. I softened my voice. "Let me come with you. The fire reacts to lies, to truth, to intentions. If she's innocent, I'll know. If she's guilty—" The ember pulsed warm and sharp. Michael inhaled slowly, the alpha in him torn between protecting me and trusting me. Finally, he nodded. Fine, he murmured. We go together. His expression hardened. But we're bringing guards. I raised a brow. You think she's dangerous? No. His jaw clenched. I think the people she works with might be. That landed like ice in my stomach. We stood. I grabbed my coat, and as I did, the ember inside me whispered, "Her truth is waiting. Burn it open." Michael's parents lived in Crescent City's upper district, an estate of old money wolves, polished marble, iron gates, family relics in glass cases. But today, the air around it felt wrong, too still, too quiet, too watched. 2 guards flanked the doors as we approached. Michael brushed past them without speaking. The foyer was immaculate, every surface shining, but my wolf crouched immediately. Something sour lingered in the air. Michael's father stepped out first. "Son," he started, tension lining his voice. "Your mother is—" "Where is she?" Michael asked, voice sharp steel. His father hesitated. That hesitation? The ember flared, hot, bright, hungry. "Michael," he said, "your mother is resting. She's not feeling—" "Lie," I breathed. Both men turned to me. "What?" Michael rasped. I swallowed. "The fire," I whispered. "It reacts when someone isn't telling the truth. And your father is lying." Michael's father stiffened. "Luna Sarah, with respect, I widened my stance. The ember rippled under my skin. "Try again," I said softly. His father looked at me. My stomach flipped, his heartbeat jumped, his pulse spiked. Fear, guilt, something tangled. Michael's jaw clenched. "Where is she?" His father exhaled shakily. "Your mother is in the study," he said finally. "But she's not alone." "Who's with her?" I asked. He swallowed. "Someone from the Preservation Council." The world went still. Michael's eyes darkened until they were almost wolf black. "Sarah," he murmured, "stay behind me." But I stepped forward. "No," I said softly. "This is why I have the fire." Michael didn't argue. He couldn't, because he felt it too. The shift, the danger, the truth waiting just beyond the next door. Michael reached for the handle. I grabbed his wrist. "Wait." He turned toward me. "Whatever is in that room," I whispered, "I need to see it first. My fire, it wants the truth." His gaze softened in a way that tore at me. "You are the bravest person I've ever met," he murmured. Then he opened the door, and every hair on my body stood up. Because Evelyn Hale wasn't sitting with a friendly council representative. She was sitting across from a man with Blackridge mountain tattoos hidden under his collar. A man who reeked of spell smoke and cold metal. A man holding a file with my name on it. The ember inside me didn't just flare, it ignited. Chapter 9. When the study door swung open, the world narrowed to a single, razor-sharp point. Evelyn Hale, the woman I'd spent years trying to earn approval from, sat stiff-backed in her emerald velvet chair, posture perfect, expression calm. Too calm. Across from her sat a stranger, tall, angular, dark hair tied at the nape, a mountain tattoo spiraling up his neck, the unmistakable mark of Blackridge's inner circle. He held a folder stamped with the Midnight General seal. My stomach dropped. My file, my name, my baby. He was reading it like it was light gossip. Evelyn looked up at us. She didn't flinch, she didn't gasp, she didn't scramble to hide the file. She just folded her hands delicately in her lap and said, "Michael, Sarah, you're early." Michael's wolf lunged so hard I felt the bond snap tight. "Who?" he growled, each word shaking with suppressed violence. "Is this man in my family's home holding my mate's medical records?" The stranger smirked. "I'm a consultant." Michael took a step forward. "Take one more breath in my presence," he said quietly, "and I'll tear out your tongue." The man's smirk wavered. "But Evelyn—" Evelyn simply sighed. "Michael, darling," she said, "please, enough theatrics. This is pack business." Michael froze, then his power exploded. Blackridge is not pack business. Evelyn's eyes sharpened. That is a matter of perspective. The ember inside me pulsed. Once, hard, a warning. My wolf growled so loud in my head it made my vision shake. Lie. I stepped forward before Michael could snap the man's neck. "Michael," I said quietly. "Let me." He turned toward me sharply. "Sarah, let me." It was not a request, it was instinct. My fire stirred, not violently, not out of control, purposeful, focused, a predator waking with intention. He swallowed hard, then stepped aside. I walked toward her slowly. My steps were soft, my voice was softer. "Mrs. Hale," I said, "you have something that belongs to me." Her gaze flicked to the file. This? It came through official channels. The ember hissed. "Lie," I inhaled. The air around me warmed. "What channels?" I asked. "Preservation Council channels," Evelyn answered. "They alerted us there was something unusual in your blood work." The fire in my chest flared so fast I had to steel myself not to stagger. Not the big fire, not the flames, but the truth, flame. It sparked at the edges of my vision, white and gold motes dancing like dust catching sunlight. Evelyn didn't notice, but the Blackridge envoy did. His eyes widened. He leaned back slowly. He knew exactly what he was looking at. "Evelyn," I whispered, "when did the council reach out to you?" "This morning," she said smoothly. "Lie. When did you first know something was different about me?" "I didn't." "Lie. When did you learn who my mother really was?" She hesitated. My fire surged. A lie withheld is still a lie. When she finally spoke, her voice was brittle. "Your mother was special. She came from an old line. I only knew a little." The ember burned brighter. "Lie." Evelyn's eyes darted to the envoy. Michael stepped forward, growl spilling out of him. "Mother," he said coldly, "if one more lie leaves your mouth—" "Enough." Evelyn stood abruptly. Her composure cracked for the first time. "You two do not understand the significance of Sarah's bloodline, the responsibility, the danger. The council has monitored elemental wolves for centuries. I was trying to protect you." "Protect us?" I repeated numbly. "By giving my medical information to strangers?" Evelyn's lips thinned. "Blackridge is not the enemy." Michael exploded. "You let Blackridge into my home." "Your home," she snapped back, "is under threat from forces you cannot even comprehend. Ronan Blackridge has a claim." My heart stopped. A claim? A claim? Michael's wolf slammed into his skin, claws ripping from his fingers. "What claim," he choked, "could that bastard possibly have on my mate or our child?" Evelyn hesitated, and the ember inside me screamed. Because the truth was right there, hovering on her tongue, refusing to come out. Not because she didn't know, but because saying it would damn her. I stepped forward. The air shimmered, the lights flickered. The envoy stiffened, eyes wide, terrified. Michael tensed. "Sarah," he murmured, "your aura—" I placed a hand on Evelyn's desk. White gold warmth rippled under my palm. "You're done hiding the truth from us," I whispered. "All of it. Now." Her pulse skipped. "Sarah," she breathed, "you don't know what you're doing." "No," I said softly, "you don't know who you're dealing with." I lifted my hand. And let the ember rise. It wasn't fire, not the burning, not the heat, just truth, pure, radiant, unavoidable. White gold light spiraled up my arm, soft as moonlight, bright as honesty. The envoy scrambled back, chair screeching. He held up his arms. "Truth flame," he rasped. "Dear gods." Evelyn paled, and the truth broke out of her like a dam collapsing. "I made a deal," she whispered. Michael went rigid. "What deal?" Her voice cracked. "Your mate," she whispered, shaking, "was promised to the Preservation Council before she was even born." Everything in me went still. What? I breathed. Evelyn's hands trembled. Your mother was a firewolf, Sarah. One of the last. The council claimed the right to guide her bloodline. Your father refused. They targeted her. She ran. She hid. She tried to raise you safe. Her voice wavered. But she died. Michael flinched as if stabbed. I couldn't breathe. So, when you emerged in this pack, Evelyn continued, shame finally cracking her voice, the council reached out to me. They said Sarah's birth had been foretold, that the heir she carried would be significant. They asked me to report any changes. Michael's eyes were pure wolf black. His aura was lethal. The floor vibrated beneath him. You reported to them? He thundered. I thought it was to protect the bloodline, she sobbed. I didn't know Blackridge was involved. I didn't know they'd intercept the reports. I didn't know they'd— Lie, I said sharply. The ember flashed bright. A soft ring of white light pulsed from my body. And Evelyn gasped, stumbling back as if struck. Michael stared at me, stunned. What did she lie about? He demanded. I turned to him slowly. She knew Blackridge was involved. Evelyn's breath hitched. Michael growled so low the walls shook. I swear, Evelyn whispered. Don't, I said. My wolf will know. The envoy suddenly moved, reaching for the file. Michael shifted halfway, jaws snapping. But he didn't get the chance to fight, because my truth flame reacted, fast, instinctive, righteous. It flared from my chest like a streak of white lightning. It hit the file, hit the envoy, hit every illusion, every spell, every hidden truth in the room, and burned, not flesh, not skin, not life, just lies. Layers of glamour peeled from the envoy's face, revealing harsher eyes, older features, a Blackridge brand carved into his shoulder. He screamed. Evelyn screamed. The lights shattered overhead, and when the truth flame dimmed, the world looked different, exposed, raw, revealed. Michael's voice was barely human. What else? He whispered to his mother. Are you hiding from us? Evelyn crumpled into her chair, and for the first time she looked small, broken, afraid of her own son, afraid of me, afraid of what she had unleashed. Evelyn's voice was barely audible, a broken whisper. Sarah, she choked, I'm not the only one they contacted. Michael stiffened. Who else? He demanded. Her eyes lifted, haunted, regretful, terrified. Someone in this pack, she whispered. Someone close to you both. Someone who already helped Blackridge get inside your tower. The ember inside me exploded into heat. Michael's power flared, and Evelyn whispered the name. A name I never expected. A name that changed everything. Chapter 10. Evelyn's lips trembled. Her hands gripped the velvet of her dress so tightly the fabric wrinkled. Who? Michael growled. Say the name. Evelyn's eyes lifted, haunted, ashamed, terrified. Her gaze flicked between us. Then she whispered the last name we ever expected. Luca. Everything in me froze. Luca. Michael's beta. His closest friend. The man who carried Michael out of the ashes when their old pack fell. The wolf who helped rebuild Crescent City from nothing. The man who had sworn an oath on his life to protect the Alpha, to protect me. His loyalty was legend. His loyalty was myth. His loyalty was a lie? My stomach clenched. My wolf recoiled. The air around me crackled with heat. But Michael staggered back as if he'd been struck in the chest. Mother, he rasped, if this is some kind of manipulation. I wish it were, she whispered. I wish I hadn't seen the messages. I wish I hadn't heard the calls. I wish I hadn't recognized the seals. What messages? I demanded. Evelyn swallowed. Encrypted communications, the ones the council uses for inter-pack coordination. Luca had access. They reached out to him when he was younger, after the massacre, after you brought Sarah back to the city. Michael's voice dropped to something lethal. Why? Evelyn hesitated, and the ember inside me bloomed like a sun. Lie alert. I stepped forward. Tell the truth. Evelyn flinched, her voice cracked. Because the council wanted Luca as the future alpha. Michael went utterly still. What? He whispered. He was their pick, Evelyn continued. Not you. Not because you were weak, but because your temper made you unpredictable. Luca was groomed, coached, designed to be acceptable to them. Someone they could influence, someone who would keep the bloodline, Sarah's bloodline, in check. My skin went cold. In check. Like I was a volatile asset, a tool, a pawn. Michael's power was spiraling, the floor beneath him trembling from the force of his aura. And my beta, he said in a voice that shook the room, went along with this? Not at first, Evelyn said quickly. He resisted, he refused, but then... Then what? Michael snapped. He found out Sarah was pregnant. Michael's wolf roared so loud the windows trembled. Evelyn flinched. He wasn't supposed to know so soon, but when he did, he panicked. He reached out to the council for help, or... She looked sick. For permission. Permission. Permission to do what? My pulse hammered so loudly I could barely hear. Permission for what? I whispered. Evelyn looked at me. Permission to take Sarah into protective custody. Michael lunged. I grabbed his wrist, barely in time, because the study door slammed open, and Luca stepped inside. No remorse, no shame, just exhaustion, and a sadness so deep it made my stomach twist. Michael, Luca said quietly. Michael didn't move, didn't blink, didn't breathe. Tell me she's lying, he said. Tell me you're not the reason Blackridge got into my tower. Luca's jaw flexed, but he didn't deny it. Michael's chest rose once, sharply, like he'd been stabbed. Why? He rasped. Why, Luca? After everything, why? Luca's voice was heartbreakingly soft. Because you weren't supposed to be with her. My entire body went cold. Luca met my eyes. Pain flickered there. Guilt. Longing. You don't understand, Sarah, he whispered. You were marked, destined, for a council-approved bond. For your safety, for your bloodline's protection, not for chaos. Michael's snarl shook dust from the ceiling. Chaos, he spat. You mean me. Luca swallowed. The council said the alpha who bonded with a truth flame wolf had to be balanced, controlled, strategic, never impulsive, never emotional. And you thought you were that wolf, Michael growled. I thought I could protect her, Luca said. Better than you, and when you mated her, when she became Luna, when she conceived... He swallowed. They told me Blackridge would interfere, that you'd draw fire, that she and the heir needed... relocation. My hands clenched. Relocation, I repeated quietly. Is that what you call kidnapping? Luca flinched. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, he said, stepping forward. I swear I didn't tell them everything. They knew you were pregnant before I could stop them. They moved faster than anyone expected. I didn't mean... Stop! My voice cracked like lightning. He froze, because the air around me changed. Heat rippled, soft, deadly, controlled. The truth flame wasn't an ember anymore. It was a pulse, a rhythm, a heartbeat. Michael stepped between us, one arm outstretched protectively, but he didn't block me completely. This fire, Luca whispered, eyes widening. It's awakened? It awakened, Michael snarled, the night your treachery almost killed her. Luca shook his head. I wasn't trying to kill her. I was trying to... Don't, I said. My voice was quiet, too quiet. Evelyn backed up a step. The envoy scrambled into the corner. Michael looked at me with a mixture of awe and fear, because the air around me shimmered. White gold warmth traced the edges of my silhouette. Not fire, not yet, just truth. And when I looked at Luca, his illusions, his rationalizations, his half-truths, his good intentions, all of it peeled back, leaving the truth naked. You didn't want to protect me, I whispered. You wanted to control me. Luca's breath hitched. You wanted to be the alpha who commanded the truth flame. Michael's wolf surged so close the air cracked. And you wanted my child, I finished softly. Luca didn't speak. He didn't need to. The truth flame flared. Not outward, not dangerous, just bright enough to confirm he wasn't lying. Michael's roar shook the paintings off the wall. You wanted to take my mate and my unborn child because a corrupt council told you to? Luca's voice cracked. I didn't want... Lie. The fire sparked. Light burst along the edges of the room. My pulse synced with the heat. Luca stared at me, stunned. Sarah, he whispered, you don't understand what you are. What you carry, the child. Michael lunged. I grabbed his arm, barely. Michael, I said sharply, stop. He froze, chest heaving, eyes wild. He looked at me like I was the only thing tethering him to sanity. Sarah, he whispered, I want to kill him. I know, I said softly, but not yet. His nostrils flared. He betrayed you. Yes, I murmured, and the truth flame will judge him. But the pack needs more than revenge. They need answers. I turned to Luca. Tell us everything, I said. Now. But Luca didn't get the chance, because the windows exploded inward. 3 Blackridge wolves dove through the shattered glass. Smoke bombs followed. The envoy lunged. Evelyn screamed. Michael roared. And the truth flame inside me ignited. White-hot fire erupted around me like a shield. Michael pulled me close. Luca dove for cover. Blackridge wolves flooded the room. The second attack had begun. And this time, I wasn't helpless. I was fire. Chapter 11. The world didn't slow down. It shattered. Glass rained across the study in glittering shards as 3 Blackridge wolves smashed through the windows, bodies already shifting, claws tearing through the air. Smoke bombs burst on impact, choking the room in a haze of chemical cold designed to weaken elemental wolves. I didn't weaken. I ignited. White gold flames raced across my skin like lightning crawling over water, illuminating the smoke with an eerie glow. Someone screamed. I think it was the envoy. Someone else growled. Michael. Definitely Michael. Chaos erupted. Michael surged forward, ripping into the first intruder with a snarl so primal it made the floorboards tremble. Wood cracked under his heels as he slammed the wolf into the wall. Luca tackled the envoy, knocking him away from the folder containing my medical file. Evelyn stumbled back, shielding her face as glass and smoke swirled around her. And me? I stood in the center of it all, calm, centered, burning. One of the Blackridge wolves lunged straight at me, fangs bared, claws out, eyes wide like he'd just realized what I was. The air, he shouted. Grab the air! My stomach clenched. My child. My wolf snarled so hard the sound cracked the air. My fire answered. When the wolf lunged, I didn't move, I didn't flinch, I didn't scream. I simply lifted my hand, and the truth flame obeyed. A white gold arc of power shot forward. Not a beam, not a burst, but a sweeping wave of heat that illuminated every lie clinging to the wolf's aura. His glamour peeled back. His hidden tattoo was exposed. The mark of a blood-bound hunter, someone trained to capture elemental heirs alive. My fire burned that mark. Not his skin, not his soul. Just the magic binding him to Blackridge. He howled, collapsing. Michael glanced back at me with shocked, terrified awe. Sarah, he breathed. What? How? No time, I said, voice trembling with a strength I didn't recognize as mine. More are coming. As if on cue, the wall behind us cracked. 2 more wolves slammed through the plaster, dust choking the air. Luca shouted, Sarah, move! But I didn't have to. Michael was already there, a blur of muscle and fury, interposing himself between them and me. He grabbed one wolf by the throat and threw him through Evelyn's antique bookcase. The bookcase did not survive. The wolf might have. Unfortunate. The smoke bombs kept hissing, trying to suppress magic. But the truth flame wasn't just magic. It was inheritance. bloodline, birthright. And the moment a wolf reached for me, the moment his claws brushed the air in front of my stomach, something in my body snapped. My wolf rose, not inside me, not metaphorically. She rose. I felt bones shift beneath my skin, not breaking, not twisting, unfurling. My senses exploded open, every sound magnified, every heartbeat a drum, every intention around me glowing like threads of light. And the flames weren't around me anymore. They were me. White gold fire wrapped around my limbs like armor, curled behind me like a tail, crowned my head like a halo. A sound ripped from my throat. A howl. Not human, not wolf. Something older, something lost, something reborn. The Blackridge wolves froze mid-attack. "Fire, wolf!" one choked. "She's shifting, she's—" Michael, still fighting two wolves at once, managed to glance at me, and for a split second, he faltered. His pupils blew wide. His wolf pressed against his skin, fully present, fully aware, fully undone by the sight of me. "Sarah," he whispered, voice breaking, "you're magnificent." The compliment should not have mattered during a life-or-death battle. It did. A wolf lunged at his back. My fire leaped on instinct. A spiraling arc of flame whipping through the air, hitting the intruder with a blast of truth so intense the wolf's illusions shattered and he stumbled backward blind. Michael finished him with a single punch. We locked eyes. The bond pulsed, warm, bright, unbreakable. "Stay behind me," he began. "No," I growled, not loudly, not aggressively, but with the certainty of a wolf who finally understood her nature. "I stand with you." And Michael's answering snarl wasn't anger. It was pride. "Then burn," he whispered. "Burn everything that tries to take you from me." A third Blackridge wolf tried to tackle Evelyn. "A stupid move," Michael's mother screamed. Luca moved to intercept. I moved faster. The wolf reached for Evelyn's throat. And the truth flame exploded from my palm in a wave so bright, it lit the entire estate in white gold light. The illusion cloaking his face ripped away, revealing not a Blackridge wolf, a Crescent City one, a traitor, a spy, someone from our own pack. Michael roared. Luca froze. Evelyn gasped. And I stepped forward. "Tell the truth," I commanded. The fire flared. The wolf screamed as every falsehood burned off him like smoke in the wind. I was told to," he choked. "The council said the Luna had to be contained, had to be moved, had to be kept from the Alpha, had to—" My flames swallowed the lies. Not the wolf, just the lies. Michael incapacitated him with a single blow. The envoy tried to flee through the broken window. My fire flared outward, sweeping through the air like a net. It caught his aura. It burned the glamour off him. It revealed a tracking glyph. Michael seized him by the collar and slammed him into the wall so hard plaster cracked. "You brought them here," he snarled. "You marked our home." The envoy struggled. "They're coming. He's coming. Ronan Blackridge wants the heir." "I will kill him," Michael hissed, "with my bare—" "Michael!" My voice cut through the chaos. He whipped toward me. His chest rose and fell like a storm battling to stay inside its skin. I stepped close enough to touch, close enough that the fire brushed his aura without burning him, close enough that he could feel the truth in my bond. "I'm okay," I whispered. He inhaled sharply. The storm inside him stilled. For one moment, one heartbeat, one breath, then the truth flame pulsed again. A warning. Michael stiffened. "What is it?" he demanded. I turned toward the smashed window. My wolf lifted her head. The outside street was too quiet. The estate grounds were too dark. The air tasted like smoke and steel and danger. "They're not done," I whispered. "This was just the opening." Michael moved to shield me instantly. Luca stepped in front as well, guilt choking his scent. Evelyn clung to the desk, shaking. I stared into the night and saw glowing eyes in the tree line. Dozens. Then a horn sounded, deep, echoing, bone-chilling. Michael's face went white. "That's Ronan's call," he whispered. The flame inside me responded, not with fear, not with panic, but with a soft, deadly purr. "He's coming," I said. Michael's grip tightened protectively at my waist. "And I'll kill him before he gets within a mile of you." But the truth flame whispered something else. "Let him come. Let him try. Let the world see what burns for truth." Chapter 12. Ronan Blackridge did not enter quietly. He didn't sneak. He didn't hide. He didn't pretend he wasn't here for war. He announced himself the way all tyrants do, with a vibration in the earth and a hunger in the air. The horn stopped ringing. The estate went still. Michael stepped forward, chest rising slow and lethal, blocking me on instinct. Luca stayed half a step behind him. A shield, a traitor, and a man drowning in guilt. Evelyn clutched her shawl, shaking, whispering prayers to gods who had not shown up yet. But me? My firewolf simmered under my skin. Waiting, watching, heating until every breath felt like drawing dawn into my lungs. Because Ronan wasn't just coming for Crescent City. He was coming for my child. And that was the match that hit the gasoline inside me. A boom echoed across the estate as the iron gates were ripped off their hinges and thrown like toys across the courtyard. Michael's posture changed instantly. His wolf took over. The air thickened with power, dark, storm-heavy dominance that radiated off him like thunder made flesh. He stepped in front of me. "Sarah," he said quietly. "If anything happens, don't finish that sentence." My voice was low, steady, burning. "I'm not leaving you." His jaw clenched at the edges. A soft snarl escaped him, not anger at me, fear for me. Before he could argue, the shadows at the broken gate shifted, and he stepped out, Ronan Blackridge. He wasn't what I expected. He wasn't monstrous, he wasn't snarling, he was calm. Tall, broad-shouldered, terrifyingly composed. Black hair cut close. Eyes a cold mountain ice blue, the kind of blue that doesn't thaw even in summer. And on his wrist, glowing under spell ink, the blood claim mark. My stomach twisted. Michael growled so loudly the earth vibrated. Ronan smirked. "Yes," he said, lifting the marked wrist lazily. "I'm glad the Luna recognizes it. A pity your mate didn't teach you what it means." Michael lunged. I grabbed his arm. "Wait!" He froze, breathing hard, barely human. "Let me hear him," I whispered. Michael's eyes glazed wolf black. "Sarah, he put a claim on you, on our child. There is nothing to hear." But the truth flame inside me hummed, not with rage, with warning. "Let him speak," it whispered. "Burn the truth after." Ronan stepped closer, boots crunching over broken stone. "Luna Sarah." He bowed his head slightly, mocking. "I had hoped our meeting would be gentler." "Gentle," I reminded him, "is not the word I'd use for sending assassins into my apartment." Michael's wolf snarled. Ronan ignored him completely, which made Michael even angrier. Ronan's gaze flicked to my stomach. Reverent, possessive, deadly. "The child is powerful," he said softly. "The strongest potential heir in 2 centuries. Your bloodline is rare, precious, endangered." The ember inside me flared. Not fire yet, but truth sense. Ronan was lying. Not about the power, about why he wanted the child. "Say it," I said quietly. "Say the real reason." He smiled, and this time the lie shone like black oil across his aura. "Because I want to protect the heir." My fire flared. White sparks drifted into the air. I stepped forward. "No," I whispered. "You want to own the heir." Ronan's smile vanished. Michael's fist clenched hard enough to crack bone. Luca closed his eyes. Evelyn pressed a shaking hand over her mouth. Ronan's voice turned cold. "You don't understand the importance of your lineage. You don't understand what the truth flame means." "Enlighten me," I said. "It means power," he said simply. Power that belongs in the hands of those strong enough to wield it. Packs rise or fall based on bloodlines. And yours— He looked at me like a collector who had found the rarest artifact. Is the first truth flame to resurface in generations. Heat surged in my chest. My wolf pressed forward, ready to burn. But Ronan wasn't done. That child you carry? His voice softened. It will be the strongest fire wolf in recorded history. It belongs with a pack that can develop it, train it, protect it. Michael stepped in front of me, voice a low earthquake. Say it plainly, he growled. Say you think that child belongs to you. Ronan smiled thinly. It belongs to the strongest alpha. Michael lost it. He shifted, half wolf, half man, teeth bared, claws extending, every muscle coiled. But Ronan lifted a hand casually. You can fight me, Alpha Hale, but you cannot protect her alone. Not from the council, not from the law. The law? I spat. You broke into my home, you attacked my pack, you destroyed our wards, you murdered— I saved you, Ronan interrupted. Even Luca inhaled sharply at the boldness of that lie. Michael growled, Say that again, I dare you. But Ronan's eyes were on me, not my face, my belly. The fire inside you is unstable, he said. Untrained, dangerous. You nearly burned your own home. Your baby needs stability, needs a pack that understands elemental lineage, It needs me, I snapped. My fire surged outward, a ring of heat expanding around me like a living pulse. Ronan's eyes widened. Luca backed up. Evelyn started praying under her breath. Michael reached for me, instinctively, but the flames parted around him harmlessly. Because they knew him. They accepted him. But when Ronan stepped closer, they roared. A ribbon of fire swept across the ground between us, drawing a blazing line of white-gold light. A border, a warning, a threat. I didn't make that line. The fire did. Ronan stared at it, stunned. You can control it? He whispered. I don't control it, I said. It answers to truth. Ronan's expression darkened. And who decides what truth is? I lifted my hand. The fire rose. I do. Michael inhaled sharply behind me. Ronan took another step, testing me. The flames erupted upward, a wall of white fire towering between us so hot, even the night breeze hissed. Ronan shielded his face, staggering back. You think this will save you? He snarled. This fire? This trick of lineage? No, I said softly. My mate will. Michael stepped beside me. Not in front, not blocking, but with me. His arm wrapped around my waist, anchor and wildfire, alpha and protector. The bond between us flared strong enough to crack the ground beneath our feet. Ronan stared. And for the first time, he looked afraid, because he saw the truth. Not the fire, not the air, not the bloodline. He saw us, two wolves bonded by something older and stronger than magic. Love, loyalty, fury, destiny. He stepped back. This isn't over, he hissed. You can't hide the air from the council, or from what's coming. You're playing with fire you do not understand. Good, I whispered, because I was born to burn. Ronan snarled. Then he turned, and vanished into the trees. But not alone, because dozens of glowing eyes followed him. Blackridge wolves, his army, waiting, watching. War was no longer coming. War was here. And the quiet flame inside me was done being quiet. Chapter 13. Ronan's army disappeared into the trees, but their presence lingered, like smoke clinging to curtains long after the fire leaves the room. Michael didn't move. Neither did I. We stood in the ruined courtyard of his family estate, glass crunching under our feet, flames fading into soft embers around me, the night air thick with something I'd never felt before. Not fear, not victory, promise. Michael finally broke the silence. We're not waiting for him to return. His voice was low, deadly, final. War had already carved itself into his tone. But then his hand slid to my stomach, protective instinct shaking his breath. And we are not leaving ourselves exposed another night. His wolf pressed hard under his skin, pushing, pacing, snarling. I leaned into him. I know. The wind picked up, cold, sharp, mountain-scented. My firewolf rose at the same time, and for the first time since awakening, she felt calm, not raging, not frantic, just ready. He comes again, she whispered, and we will meet him. Evelyn's staff rushed in, gasping at the destruction. The study was gone, the hall was cracked, the window frames mangled. Michael's father stood silently in the corner, his face pale as moonlight. But before anyone touched me, Michael's voice thundered, "Clear the room!" Every wolf froze. Even the wind seemed to stop. They moved back instantly, every head bowed, every throat bared. But an old voice did not back down. Elder Rowan arrived with 2 senior advisors flanking him, their expressions grim, their postures rigid. "Alpha," Rowan said gravely. "We sensed the fire." Evelyn stiffened, ashamed. Luca stepped back into the shadows, guilt weighing on him like chains. Michael squared his shoulders. It was my mate. The elder looked at me with an expression I'd never seen from him. Reverence. Fear. Recognition. "Truth flame," he whispered. "The prophecy wasn't myth after all." My stomach dropped. There was a prophecy? About me? What prophecy? I asked carefully. Michael frowned. "You're only telling us this now?" Rowan nodded toward the broken study, motioning for us to follow into a safer hall. "We believed it was symbolic," he explained, "until tonight." We stepped inside the East Gallery. Moonlight filtered through stained glass, casting silver and ruby patterns on the walls, illuminating portraits of the Hale line. I felt something tug at my chest. Familiarity, recognition, like a ghost brushing my shoulder. Rowan continued, voice grave. "Centuries ago, before the council fractured the elemental lines, a fire wolf seer left a final vision. It spoke of a quiet wolf, a Luna, who carried fire disguised as gentleness, a wolf who would expose lies, ignite truth, and choose the alpha who could hold her flames without being destroyed." My heart thumped once, hard. Michael stood behind me, hands on my shoulders, his breath warm against my neck. Rowan's gaze dropped to my stomach. "And the prophecy spoke of the heir she carried, the first fire-born wolf in generations, a wolf whose awakening would start a war." He paused. "That would cleanse the packs of corruption." The room fell silent. Michael squeezed my shoulders gently. His voice lowered, controlled, barely contained. "When were you going to tell us this?" Rowan met his eyes. "When the flames returned." They had, burning, revealing, changing everything. Rowan stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Sarah," he said gently, "your mother knew." My throat tightened. "She was descended from the last firewolf elders. She hid you from the Preservation Council. She ran after they tried to claim you. She died protecting your bloodline." Michael's hand found mine instantly. "She never told me," I whispered. "She couldn't," Rowan said softly. "If you had known what you were before your power awakened, the council would have sensed it and come for you sooner." My wolf hummed inside me. Sadness and rage woven together. I wasn't weak. I wasn't fragile. I wasn't some miracle that happened by chance. I was a daughter of flame. And I was never meant to bow. Rowan finished explaining the prophecy. The gallery felt smaller now, tighter, like the walls were leaning in, listening. Michael pulled me aside, away from the elders. His hands framed my face. His wolf was close, so close his aura buzzed with unspoken fear and fury. "Sarah," he murmured, "look at me." I did. "Do you want to run?" My breath hitched, not because I was afraid, because he was. My strong, unbreakable alpha, My warrior, my storm, my protector stood there trembling, as if the idea of losing me was the weapon that could finally bring him to his knees. "I will take you away from here tonight," he said, voice cracking. "I don't care if we abandon the city. I don't care if the packs call me a coward. I don't care about titles or prophecies. If you say the word, Sarah, I will take you and our child anywhere in the world and never look back." His forehead touched mine. His voice dropped to a whisper. "I choose you. I'll always choose you. Not war, not destiny. You." My heart shattered and rebuilt itself in the same heartbeat. I cupped his jaw. "Michael, look at me." His eyes lifted, storm gray, furious, terrified, full of love so deep it nearly swallowed me whole. "I'm not running," I said softly. His breath caught. "I'm done hiding. Done being quiet, done pretending I'm not a threat." My wolf rose inside me, proud. "My mother ran so I could live," I whispered, "but I'm not running." I stepped closer. "And you are not a coward. You're the only alpha who didn't try to use me." His eyes softened. His throat worked. "So what do you want, Sarah?" he asked, voice low. I looked out the broken windows toward the dark tree line, where Ronan watched, where the council waited, where war would ignite. And the answer was simple. "War," I whispered, "but on our terms." Michael inhaled sharply, and for the first time since this ordeal began, he smiled, a slow, dangerous, proud smile. "My Luna," he said softly. "My Alpha," I whispered back. And the truth flame shimmered around us, gold and white, soft and fierce, ready. When we returned to the elders, Michael stood taller. I stood brighter. "We're calling the pack," Michael announced. "Tonight," Rowan bowed. "So the war begins." "No," I corrected, stepping forward. The flames flickered at my fingertips, soft and deadly. "The war began the moment they tried to take my child." Michael's hand wrapped around mine. "And we will finish it." Together. The elders bowed deeper. The truth flame pulsed within me, and the night itself seemed to hold its breath. Epilogue. War didn't begin with a battle cry. It began with a breath, mine, quiet, steady, burning. The pack gathered in the Crescent Hall before dawn, hundreds of wolves lining the stone floor, shoulders squared, heads held high. Every pair of eyes turned when Michael and I entered, me wrapped in white gold firelight so soft it looked like moon reflection, him radiating storm-heavy alpha energy. The truth flame simmered just beneath my skin, resting, listening, not calm, not dormant, just waiting. Michael stepped forward first, his voice echoing through the hall. "Blackridge wants our Luna and the heir she carries. They want her bloodline. They want her power." Growls rippled through the crowd. "And they will fail." Every wolf bowed their head to him, even more bowed theirs to me. But this moment, this choice, this future, it was mine to speak. I stepped forward, hands resting on my stomach, heart pounding in my throat. "My mother didn't die so I could live afraid," I said. "My child will not be born into a world where truth is hunted." The room held its breath. "I am the quiet flame," I whispered, "and I burn for truth." The fire rose around me, not wild, not violent, but bright enough to paint the walls white. Gasps filled the hall. Some wolves dropped to their knees. Others covered their hearts. A few cried openly, ancient stories returning to life in front of them. Michael moved to my side, threading his fingers through mine. "And I stand with her," he said simply. The bond between us pulsed, soft, warm, fierce. The elders stepped forward, Rowan bowing deeply. "Luna Sarah," he said. "The prophecy spoke of this moment, of the night the quiet flame would choose whether to rise or fall." I exhaled. The choice was made the moment Ronan Blackridge looked at my stomach like it belonged to him. "Tell the pack," I whispered. Rowan's voice boomed. "She rises." Wolves howled. a thunderous sound shaking the hall, reverberating through the stone, echoing across Crescent City. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel small or soft or quiet. I felt infinite. Michael pulled me close, one hand at my waist, the other splayed protectively over my stomach. "Are you scared?" he murmured. "No." I met his eyes. "You'll be at my side." He kissed my forehead, his breath warm against my skin. "You have no idea how much of my soul belongs to you." My wolf purred, my fire hummed, and our child, our fire-born heir, fluttered softly, like they felt the pack's roar. A tear slipped down my cheek, not from fear, from certainty. "This is just the beginning," Michael whispered. I nodded. It was. Our war, our destiny, our truth. And as the fire curled around my fingers in soft, glowing arcs, the Luna with the quiet flame finally accepted what she was born to be: a protector, a judge, a mother, a fire that would not be extinguished. I exhaled. "Let them come," I whispered. "They'll learn what burns for truth." And the flames answered. If you felt the heat of the quiet flame, if you believe love can turn a whisper into a war, subscribe to Rene's romance stories so you never miss the next chapter of passion, betrayal, and power reborn. And drop a comment. Would you stand with the fire or run from it? The quiet flame is watching.